Hey, happy Friday morning to you all, and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports. I'm your host, Larry Frank. Hope you're all doing very well today. Today we're going to talk about a couple different subjects. A little bit later on in the show, we're going to have the great junior college head coach of Eastern Florida, Jeremy Shulman, on. If you don't know much about Jeremy, he's 257 wins and only 78 losses as a college head coach and has over 672 wins as a head coach in his career. So just a great basketball coach, a great person, and we'll have him on a little bit later in the show. As far as people asking about some of these Arkansas basketball players and football recruits, we have nothing to report right now. There are a bunch of people they're going after, a bunch of scholarships being sent out, but until we have a definite answer from these individuals, we're not going to go ahead and just say this one, that one might sign, that one might sign. We want to make sure we have for you before we go ahead and put that out there. So once that comes available, we will let you know. But, you know, to get in a good mood. I'm always in a good mood. I come on this show. I try to be happy. I think of the NBA. They're going to be coming back soon. Yes. The NHL, they got a plan in place. They're going to be coming back soon. And I'd like to hear when already, but I'm sure that information will be revealed at the correct time. But every single day, I get more and more disgusted at Major League Baseball. And you know what? I'm going to tell everybody right now, it's not the players' fault. If anybody out there thinks that what's going on in the major leagues as far as this negotiation process is the players' fault, they are fools. And I'm going to be honest, at first, when everything was coming down the pipe, I was one that said, okay, let's be a little realistic here. Yes, they make a lot of money. But when I started evaluating the situation and covering this as a reporter and somebody who reports the information to you, I learn more and more every day how much the owners in Major League Baseball are nothing but a bunch of freaking crooks. That's what they are. There is no better word. They are a criminal to the game of baseball. And it's sickening, nauseating, and just plain simply disgusting. It is completely disgusting. And let's think about this for a minute. You know, first of all, yesterday, as you all know, and we're not going to go much into detail on this, 100 minor leaguers were cut. There's going to be 100 more minor leaguers that are cut. So people are losing their jobs. Not just in the world, as everybody knows, but it's affecting sports as well. And at a time where these owners should be, at least somewhat compassionate about what's going on, no, they only give a crap about themselves, and they always prove it. And we're going to talk about this. I'm going to go in depth, and I'm not going to hold any punches. And everybody that listens to my show knows I don't feed BS. I'm going to tell you like it is. Some people are going to like it, some aren't. And I'll tell you right now, if you're a damn owner in Major League Baseball, you're not going to like what I got to say. And, the first thing that I'm hearing, and the one that is the most sickening out of all of this negotiation process, is they are blaming the epidemic on everything that is going on. And, this epidemic has killed a lot of people in the U.S. I believe it's over 100,000 people now, or over 101,000 people. And those that haven't been killed by it, you have a bunch more affected by it. Whether they contracted it or have family members. And for them to come out right now and start using this epidemic, it's the safety of the players, it's nothing but a piece of crap. They're full of crap. That's what the owners are. This has nothing to do with safety. And that's why I got mad at Blake Snell a couple of weeks ago when he came out with those comments, because Blake was not wrong about the money. He was wrong about the over-dramatization of the effect from safety. We all know about the safety issues. The NBA knows it, the NHL knows it, and Major League Baseball knows it. There's no hiding that. But to come out and start saying it's a safety issue is bullcrap. It's a money issue. All you damn owners care about is the mighty dollar. That is it. Do not use safety and COVID-19 anymore as an excuse. It's bullcrap. It's completely bullcrap. And you talk about the owners, they give out these proposals that they know are crazy. You made an agreement, owner to players, back in, I believe, March, the latter part of March or whenever it was, April, that you would prorate their salaries based on the number of games played. You were thinking at that time 81, 82 games, half a season, half a salary. What gives you the damn right to go back on these players and change it after they agreed with you? You made an agreement. You know why? It's about the money. Why should players take a pay cut so that owners don't lose money? Why don't the damn owners take a pay cut so the players don't lose money? That's what my question is. They want certain players like the Bryce Harpers and the Cole Hamels and the people that make these big money to go from $30 million a year down to $9 million. They're talking about $21 million they want to cut out of their salary. Anybody in their right mind would think that is ludicrous. Completely ludicrous. The players are not wrong. You have never heard any of these players come out and say, we would not play more than 82 games this year. At least I haven't. If anything, I heard they're willing to play more games. You can play Saturday, well, if we play more doubleheaders, we're going to lose money at the gate because one game when we're playing two games. You know what? There's all that, and you for years. So stop using the damn excuses out there. You can play day-night doubleheaders. It's been done the past I don't know how many years, especially with the Yankees Mets. I've seen them play two different ballparks, where they play in Yankee Stadium during the day at 1 o'clock, come back to play with a different gate at 8 o'clock at Citi Field. It's excuses. If I'm the players, I say, screw you, Major League Baseball. We won't play at all this year and let them lose all. Unfortunately, if they do that, the players won't get paid, so they're really not in that position. But basically, that's what I would do if I had enough money as a player. Screw you, owners. Lose your $10 billion a year, if you'd rather do that. And that's the major problem right now. The owners don't want to lose anything. They want everything their way. And that's not what happens when you have different size. And it really bugs me it just eats me up to see crooks like these owners. You know, a lot of people out there go, well, these players make millions and millions. They should be willing to do this. They should be willing to do that. No, that's bull crap. Are you willing? And I know some of you had to times, but, you know, if I'm making a certain amount of money to do a job, that's the money I expect to make. That's not greed. Greed is saying, to me, greed is holding out your last year of your contract, not living it up to it like a man or woman, and working for what you agreed on. That is wrong. But Major League Baseball and the owners agree each of these players on a specific when you now, understandably, we are going through something in this world that we have never gone through. So the Major League owners come back and say, fine, we want you to prorate your contracts based on the number of games played, and the players say, okay. They agreed. Both sides agreed. You know, right now we are wasting so much damn time out there when we could be playing baseball games. Even yesterday, the state of Texas opened up that they're allowed to ask. According to the government guidelines there in Texas, they can go ahead and have 25% of that stadium filled with fans. And I'm going to tell you something right now. You could go ahead right now and tell baseball fans that 100% of the and they're not going to sell it out because people are still skeptical about what's going on. Who don't go. Okay? But it's time to come together as one. And, you know, for someone who's in the past, and I will say it and admit I was wrong, has said that Major League Baseball owners, I thought at some points were right. I am deadly wrong. I am totally against the owners. What the owners are doing right now is they are tarnished in what I consider the best game, the best sport in America. And they are tarnishing it to a point where if they don't get their crap together, they're not going to have anybody watching these games when they come back. Nobody. They are tarnishing it to a point where people think they're nothing but greedy crooks. And I'm telling you right now, it's only a matter of weeks before everybody in America tells baseball, and it's not because of the players, it's because of the owners. They go, screw you. We'll watch the NHL and the NBA. We'll be back right after this.
My motivational tip of the day, it's all about having pride and passion. So many times I speak about that. You look at people that are successful, they have a sense of passion about what they do. They love what they're doing, and they do it to the best of their ability, and they have pride. You've heard me speak about it often. Pride, to me, I've always tried to break it down. P for perseverance, R for respect, I for intelligence, D for desire, E for enthusiasm. When you got a sense of pride about yourself, when I say intelligence, I mean making intelligent decisions in your life. You make good decisions, good things happen. You make bad decisions, bad things happen. So it's up to you to develop that pride and passion in what you do in life. And you have it, you will have SUCCESS. Success. I can even spell that. Give me an A, baby.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking Sports. As always, the motivational tip of the day by our buddy Dick Vitale. Want to remind you all that you can follow us on many, many different platforms. First of all, we have a new YouTube channel where you can listen to all our podcasts. All our interviews are broken down as well, so you can listen to some great past interviews that we've done and some future ones that we'll be doing, as well as the one today with Jeremy Shulman. So go to the YouTube channel. It's Frankly Speaking Sports. Go ahead and subscribe. Don't worry, it's free. You hit subscribe, and you will be a member of Frankly Speaking Sports YouTube channel. Now, not only can you listen to it by going to YouTube, the great thing about YouTube is you can go in front of your TV. You go to if it's a smart TV, you go to YouTube. You go ahead and type in Frankly Speaking Sports. Now, you will have to type in the word sports if you want to watch these shows. You go ahead down there, you pick the football field for Frankly Speaking Sports, and then it'll have all the videos and all the podcasts up there. So you can, this is great, baby. You get to sit in your couch, you can have a brewski, eat some popcorn, and listen to Frankly Speaking Sports, all our interviews and all our podcasts. What better way to live? Also, follow us on Twitter. We do have a Twitter account, @LarryFrankus. That's with the U.S. at the end. We try to retweet as much information as possible so you can get updated. We put out podcasts on that and our interviews as well. Also, Larry, go to Frankly Speaking Sports on the Facebook page. One of the fastest growing groups out there. We will play these podcasts going further on a nightly basis. So now you can listen to our podcast on Facebook as well and get all the latest updated news. Have your friends join. Have your family join. I don't care. Have your dog hit the button with a paw and join. Whatever you got to do, make sure you join. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time on the Frankly Speaking Sports Hotline, I'd like to welcome a gentleman who is 257 wins, 78 losses as a college head coach, and has a career winning record of over 672 games as a head coach. Please welcome Jeremy Shulman. Jeremy, how you doing today?
Larry, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm doing great.
Well, great to hear that. Let me ask you right off the bat, Jeremy, you know, everybody hears about the effect of COVID-19 coronavirus as far as, you know, obviously everybody hears about what's going on in the world from a society, but when it comes to sports and athletics, they hear a lot about the professional sports, a lot about the top Division I schools. Why don't you let our listeners know about the effect it's been having at the junior college level?
Absolutely. No, it's a great question. And, you know, first and foremost, let me say, I mean, this is obviously a very serious disease. You know, it's a very serious virus. And, you know, at all levels, just like all levels, as much as we love sports, as much as we love, you know, basketball, and as much as I love coaching, obviously they're very, you know, there's more important things out there, and the health of people, you know, nationwide and worldwide is obviously at paramount importance. But in addition to that, obviously it's affected us at the junior college level, you know, quite greatly. You know, the season was cut short, just like the NCAA tournament. Our national tournament for junior college was cut short. We didn't get to play it this year. Coming into this year, we were very fortunate, and we had made 5 straight trips to the national tournament, which is held in Hutchinson, Kansas. And we've had, you know, 3 straight years finishing in the top 8 in the country. And so, but this year it's finishing, you know, getting cut short. And then, you know, we've tried to mirror at the junior college level. We tried to mirror what the Division I, you know, I guess standards and protocol for, you know, COVID-19 has been throughout. And so we had a dead period as well, and we were off the road recruiting. And you know, just like Division I coaches, we had to start doing our recruiting from FaceTimes and Zoom, and watching lots and lots of film of recruits, and you know, it was definitely a different world, but it's become a lot more digital, a lot more finding different ways to communicate with our guys.
Now, Jeremy, from a junior college perspective, is it more difficult to recruit than it is for a, you know, for a Division I? Because I would think you have to look at a lot more players than maybe, where these powerhouse Division I schools, they have a good idea of what they're going after just from media attention and all that. How much more difficult is it at the junior college level?
Larry, I think it's very difficult. Yeah, I do. And to me, what makes it the most difficult is you have so much roster turnover every year, where we've got guys for 1 or at most 2 years. We're losing at least half our team every single season. And so we're having to replace half our team. And so it's not just in the number of players we're having to sign and bring in, but we don't always know what we've got returning. Most years our teams are led by our sophomores, and our sophomores move on and graduate and go on to Division I schools. This past year, for example, we had 3 players that are moving on to SEC schools. And, and so some of the freshmen we have returning I think are outstanding players, but they haven't necessarily, proven it. They haven't been the go-to guys. They haven't been the leaders of the team yet. And so in addition to trying to fill, 7 or 8 scholarships with newcomers, we're also trying to figure out, which of our freshmen are going to be able to make that jump, which of our freshmen are going to be able to, be the go-to guys and the leaders, or do we need to recruit over the top of any guys? Do we need to complement guys? And so we're trying to project what our puzzle will look like, who our potential starters will look like, with a lot less information. When you're coaching at Michigan State, you've got a pretty good idea. When Cassius Winston's returning, he's going to be a pretty dang good player, and you can piece the team around those guys. And it's just a lot more uncertainty, and every junior college coach has a different philosophy on how they recruit, how much talent versus role players they want to take. But I do think it's very difficult.
We're talking to Jeremy Shulman, head basketball coach at Eastern Florida. So, Jeremy, you mentioned a great point about you lose these players after either a year or B after 2 years. When they come into you, these players after they get out of high school, what is your goal for them?
Yeah, that's another great question. I think our goals are kind of three-pronged, and the first one is we want to help our players when they come in out of high school. We want to help them become better human beings. And that's very important to me because there's so much more important things than basketball, so much more important things than athletics in general. And we've got a certain culture here that we believe in, and doing things the right way and treating people the right way, and trying to make the world a better place. And that's first and foremost. We want all of our guys we want them to help. We want to help them mature, to help them find their way, to help them become better in all shapes, ways, and forms. And obviously, second, we want our guys to get a lot better academically. A lot of our players, not all of them, we do get some qualifiers, we get some Division I transfers, but a lot of our players are talented enough to go Division I right out of high school, but they don't have academics. They fell short of the SAT score, or they fell short with their GPA. And so we're teaching, we're trying to help teach guys to, learn the importance of academics and learn the importance of what getting a degree will do for their lives and for their families' lives. And that's another thing that's just really important. And then, of course, the third thing is we want to really help their basketball careers. We want to teach them the game. We want to teach them to know how to win and play be successful at the college level, and to prepare them to be professionals after that. And we've been very fortunate. With this past year, before COVID-19 shut everything down, we had 19 former players playing professional basketball, just this past year alone, and something we take a whole lot of pride in. So that's kind of it. Those three aspects. We want to see a lot of growth for each of our guys.
Now, Coach, let me ask you this: how much? And I ask you this because you get a lot of kids, female athletes and male athletes. They come out of high school, and some of them end up right away, whether it's through scholarship or whatever, they get thrown into these Division I powerhouses, and they're just like in a shell shock when they get there, or overwhelmed might be the correct word. You talked about these individuals, some of them coming there, obviously, it goes without saying, because they want to better their grades and get into a Division I school. But how much of it is also to help them with the social aspect of things, adjusting to what they're going to get into if and when they do go to Division I?
I think it's a great point. I think there's a lot of that because at our level, we're a lot more hands-on. There's a lot more teaching. I think you can really help people a lot at this level, at the junior college level, where at the big-time Division I level, let's be honest, it's a business. You know, it's a multi-billion dollar business, and coaches are paid a lot of money, and there's TV rights, and you know, because you've got to win, and so it's a business. And so if you come in as a freshman, you know, I think it gets lost about the transition from being a high school kid to being a young adult and learning to, you know, how to get in socially and all this. And it becomes too much just about, hey, what can you do for me? Can you win? Can you win games, et cetera? And at our level, you know, we don't have that same level of pressure. You know, we obviously, we've got internal pressure to strive to be great. We have internal pressure to try to win a national championship every year. But at the end of the day, our goals are to help these, you know, kids become young men. And I think that really helps their social transition. And so by the time they leave our place to move on to a Division I school, I think they're a whole lot more prepared to be successful.
Now, Coach, what is the transition for these players from JUCO to junior college to Division I? As far as I would think, you have a lot of communication with a lot of different coaches in Division I, because I know a lot of the coaches do look at the junior college level to get some of their players.
Absolutely. And it's different depending on in junior college, it's a lot like Division I. There's different levels of junior college. You know, just like in Division I, you've got low major schools, you've got your mid-major D1 schools, you got your high major. The same thing in junior college. You've got your low major D1 JUCOs, you've got your mid-major D1 JUCOs, and you have your high major D1 JUCOs. And, you know, we're very grateful we're a high major JUCO, and because of that, you know, Division I schools recruit our program very, very heavily. And we've got connections all over the country. We do a pro day in the fall, which is an idea we got from John Calipari, who I was fortunate enough to work with USA Basketball under-19 national team a few years ago. And we do a pro day, and we get 75 different Division I schools there watching our guys. And this in the preseason before we even start our preseason schedule and our non-conference schedule. But you know, guys get recruited. But honestly, Larry, it's great for the guys, but it's something that makes our job, in my mind, even tougher, because the end goal is, and I love junior college basketball. This will be my 14th year coaching junior college, my 11th year as a head coach coming up this upcoming year. But the end goal is not junior college basketball. No kid grows up saying, I can't wait to have a great career in junior college basketball. You know, their goal is to play at University of Florida or Florida State or University of Georgia or, you know, whoever else. And so when they've got all these schools recruiting them, and they know this isn't the end goal, and there's still, you know, there's some worry, there's some stress about, you know, what their recruitment's going to be like, you know, who's going to recruit them, will they have the right scholarship after they're done here at Eastern Florida? You know, so kids are already worried about the future when we preach so much about being very, very, very much in the present. Be great in the present, enjoy the journey, enjoy the moment, enjoy the day. And so it's something I think that makes our level difficult, because it's very hard to stay focused on the present when you're constantly worried about getting recruited for the future.
We are speaking to Jeremy Shulman, head basketball coach at Eastern Florida. He's on the Frankly Speaking Sports Hotline with us. Jeremy, why is it that junior college players don't get it? I mean, junior college in general, why don't they get enough recognition for the players that they have developed in the past?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that, I don't know if I have a perfect answer for you outside of so much in life is about perception. And for whatever reason, and maybe rightly earned back in the day, I don't know, but there's become a perception, even when I was growing up, that junior college basketball had to do with renegades. You know, it had to do with problems. Junior college basketball had to do with, you know, players that were, you know, had to have second chances or were in trouble, whether it's academics or whatever else. And so that perception has stuck with junior college over the years. Even though, there's, you know, we looked at the list the other day, there's hundreds of NBA players from junior college over the years, over history. And there's been some absolute great ones, you know, like Sean Marion and Steve Francis. And, it just goes on. And media. And if ESPN, for example, or CBS Sports, for example, would pick up and start televising junior college basketball games, people would start saying, holy cow, it's an incredible levels of talent, great discipline, great coaching. And then they would start seeing that, wow, this is not what I perceived junior college should be at first. But until there's something that can change that narrative of a negative perception, it's going to still be perceived as a different level that is not very well understood by the mainstream sports fan.
Now, Coach, do you find you talked about after 2 years, a lot of these kids have an opportunity, if they're very good, to go to Division I. Do you find a lot of these players, if they're really getting to be that good and developed, actually going to some of these independent leagues out there, like the D League and leagues like that?
It could definitely happen. There was actually a junior college player this year, a kid out of a junior college in Illinois named Jaden Scrub, a very highly rated player, very talented player. And Jaden Scrub signed with Louisville. He was rated as the #1 junior college player in the country this year. And he recently decided to not attend Louisville. He decided to skip the rest of college after JUCO and turn pro. So he's eligible for the NBA draft. And if he doesn't get drafted, he's apparently already been in contact with that G League developmental series as well. So I think you'll see some of that. But I hope that I'm a big fan of education. I'm a big fan of getting a degree. And I'm hopeful that the majority of junior college players, even the most talented ones, still see the value in following it through, trying to get that degree in addition to play professional basketball. Because as we both know, even if you're a great professional basketball player in anything outside the league, your timeline for being a pro player is still very, very short.
Right.
And you've got the rest of your life that you've got to do something with your life. You've got to make money. You've got to have a job that you enjoy, and you've got to support your family. And there's a lot to it. Even if you do play professional basketball, there's a lot to it after that. And so I hope that other coaches are like myself and are really preaching the benefit and advantage of sticking out and getting that degree, even if you are, even if your goal is to play professional.
Now, with that said, what you just said, and it led me right into my next question, and I know you go through as you mentioned earlier in this interview about every year or two you feel like you're just switching teams because, it's a 2-year college. What is your belief about the NCAA? When I say NCAA, I'm talking Division I, about the rules of basketball.
Well, I might be in the minority on this a little bit, Larry. I really, really might. And because I look at the bigger picture, and there's always going to be a couple players that define the norm. There's always going to be a Kobe Bryant. There's always going to be a LeBron James. But I am not a fan of, and I have not ever been a fan of players going straight to the NBA right out of high school. I look at football. I look at college football and the immense success that college football's had. I look at the incredible product they've got. I look at the incredible product that the NFL has got as well, just from a talent standpoint, and people and players coming in mentally and physically ready to perform at that level. And I just don't see the absolute need to be able to go to the NBA right out of high school. When you're talking about the overall product, when you're talking about what's best for the NBA, which is its organization, which has to look out for the NBA. What's best for the NBA? There are options. If you don't want to go to college, great, don't go to college. You can still go overseas and play professional basketball if you don't want to be in school. I do like that the G League is set up, their elite talent prospect as well, where you can make $150,000 or up. So it's not saying everyone needs to go to college. There's a lot of players that don't want to go to college, don't want to be in a classroom, want to make money right away, don't see the value in education, and that's fine. But for the benefit of the NBA, and for the benefit of college basketball, and for the benefit of 99% of all the athletes, I honestly, if it was up to me, I would do it a little bit more like football or like baseball, where maybe even baseball, where you can go right out of high school, but then if you go college, you've got to be in for a number of years, or I would have it a 2-year rule instead of a 1-year rule. So I am very different than the rest, and I know I'm in the minority on that opinion, but I think it makes the NBA better. I think it makes college better. I think, the kids that don't want me in college, you still have a chance to go make money in the G League or make money overseas. So I think it really is a win-win all the way around.
Now, Coach, a couple more questions before I let you go here. Let's say I'm a recruit. You're recruiting me. What style of coach is a player getting when they come play for Coach Shulman?
Well, the number one thing, without any doubt, is you're going to get someone who's going to care about you, and I think that supersedes anything basketball, anything about the Division I scholarships, anything about winning. Because we've been successful in all those areas. That's great, but you're going to have someone that truly cares about you. You're going to have somebody that is going to be there forever for you. Your family, and I mean it, and I preach it, and I've been fortunate enough to be coaching a long time. I still feel I'm very, very young at 40 years old, but I've been coaching since 1998. I've been coaching since I was, and I still keep in touch with my players throughout all the years. And so I think that's the biggest benefit. If someone comes to play for Eastern Florida, someone comes to play for Jeremy Shulman, you're going to get someone that truly cares about who you are as a person and is invested in you as a human being, and will be invested when you need, help down the road. It's not just during the couple years that you're here. It's not just during the couple years after that when you're Division I. You can reach out to me anytime, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. And to me, that is what separates us from anybody else out there.
Now, Coach, last question. I got to ask you this before I let you go. Absolutely. You've coached for 11 years in, I believe, the JUCO ranks, right, in the last 11 years.
Yeah.
It's a two-part question. Have you ever been offered a Division I school coaching job? And two, if in the future, if you're offered one, is it something you would consider, or would you rather just stay in junior college?
Absolutely. Love that question. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed. I've been offered numerous Division I assistant coaching jobs over the years, and many of which making a lot more money than I'm making right now. I've been very fortunate that there's a lot of great coaches out there that have seen some of my value. I love being a junior college coach. I love being a head coach. I love running the program the way I want to run it. I love recruiting people that I feel are really, really good people. I love being able to help people, and I love being able to run the program my way. Because of that, I'm in no hurry to leave. I would love to be a Division I head coach one day. I do know it's difficult just because of the status quo to jump directly from junior college to being Division I head coach. And I do know that the coaches, and there's been immense success at the Division I level from junior college head coaches that went on to be a D1 assistant even for a year or two. And junior college head coaches have had unbelievable success. I mean, you look at what Steve Forbes has done at East Tennessee State recently. Forbes coaching the league against me for a couple of years here in the Florida JUCO League, and now he's the head coach at Wake Forest. And coaches like Dana Altman at Oregon, John Beeline was at It's like there's just so many great junior college coaches over the years, but it's hard to make the jump directly from junior college to a Division I head coaching job. And but I like being a head coach. I love running this program here. I love making an impact on these guys. So at the moment, I'm holding out and hoping that someday maybe I can be one of the rare ones to make the jump directly to a head Division I coaching job. And if not, Larry, I'll tell you what, I love it here. We're able to win games. We're able to make an impact on guys, and about 5 minutes from the beach, so it's not all bad.
No, not at all. I know. I lived there 36 years, so I know exactly how that is.
Absolutely.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you much for joining us today on Frankly Speaking Sports. I really enjoyed having you.
Hey, Larry, thank you so much. And again, I'm very thankful that you reached out to me.
All right, you stay safe now.
All right, thank you. You too.
That was Jeremy Shulman, head basketball coach at Eastern Florida. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking Sports. I'm your host, Larry Frank, and what a terrific interview with Jeremy Shulman, head basketball coach at Eastern Florida. I mean, he has 672 wins. His junior college coaching record is 257 wins and 78 losses. Just an incredible young man. And I guarantee you down the road, somebody, and I know they've already recognized this guy for the great talent that he has, but you're going to see this guy, if he wants, go to Division I down the road. And I really hope I do. I'd love to see him go there and just conquer Division I, because he's going to be successful wherever he goes. You know, talking about college sports, and we'll stay on the theme of college sports, we did mention this a little yesterday too, and there's a lot of things that go on in the last couple weeks that we talk about repetitively because things are happening every single day that changes. The world changes every day. The way we look at the world changes every day, and the same thing is with sports at the college level as well. And if you didn't hear at the beginning of the show and you're joining us late, the state of Texas, and there's going to be more states that follow, has now come up with, the government has said that all sporting events, stands in general, can now have 25% capacity. So if you have a 20,000 seat stadium, you can sit 5,000 people right now in that stadium at a sporting event, at a college event. You know, a lot of these big Power 5 schools, especially in the SEC, they sit 80, 90,000 people. So that's still about 20 to 25,000 people that would be allowed at games if other states follow in the same suit, which I think they will. And that leads me to my point, and I know we talked about this yesterday as well, is we did a poll on Frankly Speaking Sports Facebook page about if the authorities allowed you into a ball game based on the current standard the world is in right now, would you attend the game, or would you be comfortable attending the game, or would you not be? And an arousing 75%, that's 75% of the people said they would go to the games. They're comfortable. And I think that's just a matter of people just tired of being in. You know, we've been pretty much held hostage in our own environment, in our own houses because of this coronavirus, and with obvious reasons and good cause, but people are ready to get out. And you're starting to see more and more open. And, you know, a lot of people go, well, Larry, will there be fans in the stands in college football? There's no doubt. You know, we've done interviews this week, and we've heard people talk about it. I believe it was Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas yesterday said the amount of money that you're losing in college football without those fans is incredible. You're talking billions of dollars. You know, it's almost not worth it for them to have a college football season. Yes, they get they get TV rights and stuff like that, but some of these schools don't. And it's just amazing right now. And right now, people are greedy. People are greedy. We talked about it in the earlier segment about baseball greedy. Well, you know, they might be the greediest, but there's a list of greed out there. And, you know, these college athletic departments are now, you know, again, I say it, I think everybody has safety on the mind, but it's not their number one reasoning right now for doing things. It's going to become, you know, I'm sorry, if you guys and ladies think that these universities are going to think safety over financials, you're wrong. Even though you're right, it should be done that way. It's not going to be, because now you're talking about a lot of these Division I schools losing their entire athletic departments. Now there's a lot more at stake now. They already lost the tournament, the NCAA tournament, which is one of the highest exposures for a university that you can have during the season, the March Madness. Then you lose baseball season, which isn't a huge money maker, but they have TV rights. They're on the SEC networks, the ACC networks, Pac-12 networks, and all those different networks. So they get money from there. They had the College World Series, and now college football, which makes up, 75%, if not more, of an athletic department's revenue being, not having fans, is not going to happen. I'm sorry. They are not going to let their athletic departments falter. It would take a major disaster between now and college football season for them to have to not play football and not play in front of fans. Now, the question comes up, how many fans? Well, that's not me. I'm not a medical expert, and I have never, ever claimed to be one. But, if the authorities are going to let it, the states are going to let it. And you're going to find out the universities are going to do it. And the only reason they put, it's like Major League Baseball. We talked about that earlier, and I do not want to go back on that really right now. But I will tell you, the only reason these safety protocols are being put in place by colleges, Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA, and I'm sorry to say this, but it's not because of the safety of the athletes. It's because of the liabilities these organizations and universities can face if they're not put in. If they didn't have to put them in and just can start right now, they would do it. But it's the liability part of somebody coming back and saying, you did not protect us or put any type of plan or protocol in place to protect us, so we are now suing you for millions and millions and millions of dollars. That is the only damn reason why these protocols are in place. If you think the Major League Baseball owners care about the players, you're full of it. They couldn't care less. They only care about making their money. Just like these universities. And I'll tell you what, I know some great athletic directors out there at all different levels of college sports. I know, and they're great guys, they're very and ladies, and they're great people, but at the end of the day, they're talking about, in their eyes, if they lose that university, if they lose that athletic department, they have lost everything but one thing, their life. They basically, in their eyes, they lost their life. The only thing is they're still breathing. And, everybody out there has a very rude awakening if they think anything differently than that, because it is a money game. Even these big corporations now, it's becoming a money game. And it's always been about money. It's always been about profit. But now in a time of adversity, and we always talk about this, you hear a lot of this on this show, it's how people act at the time of adversity that dictates whether they're a leader or not. Rob Manfred ain't a leader. He's proving that. While you see other people are leading from the front. The basketball players, NBA, they paid their players, I believe, one of them, either the NHL or NBA, but one paid their players throughout the season already. And the other one cut them just the amount of games they lost. So you're seeing that's the difference in adversity. And right now, a lot of people are struggling with the adversity that's facing this world, and they're not coming through with flying colors. A lot of them out there are losing everything. And you're going to see very quickly here in the next month that these universities will not allow it to happen. We'll be back right after this. Well, Welcome back to you, Frankly Speaking Sports. This is your host, Larry Frank. Want to remind you, as a lot of you already know, but let's make sure we inform other people of all the different ways to follow Frankly Speaking Sports. Obviously on Twitter, at Larry Frankus. If you have a Twitter account, go to Twitter, follow me, and you will get some of the latest updates and actually, I call them retweets from some of the top people in the sports world as far as what's going on in the news and the world of sports. Also, want to remind you, we have our own YouTube channel. You can watch or listen to, actually you can listen to any of our audio videos on our YouTube channel, which is Frankly Speaking Sports. We have past and all future ones will be on there as well. Also, follow us on our Frankly Speaking Facebook sports group, one of the fastest growing. If you have friends that are not members of that group yet, please share that message with them and have them join us. We give you the latest, quickest, updated sports news in the nation. I get it. I pass it on to you. We also do all our interviews on there, our podcasts on there. Any advertising we do on there. So please, please, please tell your friends to join us. If you're enjoying us this much, go ahead and let them enjoy us just as well. You know, next week, we have another special guest this Monday, as we have Tim Britton. Tim Britton is the beat writer for the New York Mets. So for all you New York Met fans out there, we will have Tim Britton from The Athletic on this Monday live, and to talk about some baseball and hopefully, you know, something here in the near future is going to happen that's on the promising side for baseball. So I want everybody to go out there, enjoy your weekend. Things are starting to open up, and we'll see you back here Monday on another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports.